I'm going to talk today a little bit about what it's like when a narcissist gets old. My narcissist is quite old. She will be 99 in just a few weeks. And I have noticed specific things that I feel are due to her age. That doesn't mean her mental capacity is breaking down. It just means that because of her age, she's not able to do a lot of the things she could do to get her narcissistic supply. So she has to be very creative in how she gets that fix because she's not able to go out and be in the public, things like that. I held off on this video for a little bit because I wanted to look at other people's experiences, and it's pretty much spot on for anyone who still has a narcissist, specifically those who have been with them for a very long time, so they know and can tell the changes. They seem to experience these exact same things when their narcissist gets old. Let's start with appearance. Whether a narcissist is actually beautiful or handsome or whatever, that doesn't really matter. It's how they see themselves when they're young and they feel like they are the greatest thing ever to be born. So to them, their appearance is what defines beauty. But as they get older, the appearance that always worked for them or that they believed worked for them has changed. So they can't rely on that anymore. Now, my mother was okay looking. I mean, she wasn't like a raving beauty, but she always had makeup, always had her hair, and she flaunted it. So she really thought that she was a knockout, and she loved to be overdressed for everything. She even would do is it Marilyn Monroe? Or it was popular back in the day that she would put the black dot on her cheek, So she just thought she was gorgeous. And so when she went out, if anybody even looked at her, like maybe she looked a little too flamboyant for the place that she was at, but if somebody looked at her, she thought, oh, they see how beautiful I am. She doesn't have that now. She still puts her makeup on, but she knows that her appearance has obviously changed, and she still puts the makeup on though and still loves it if somebody says, and when I say somebody, I'm talking about the only other people she sees besides us, family, me, Derek Schuyler. If like a nurse comes in and says, oh, you look so pretty today, I do tell my mother often that she looks nice and you look good. Oh, you did your makeup. That's awesome. She'll deny I ever tell her those things. And like I mentioned, my mother can't go out unless we're taking a ride in the car. So she can't be out and about just getting narcissistic supply from anyone, a passerby, again, by them looking at her or by them commenting on how she's dressed or, just anything. The other thing that's good about a narcissist when they can get out is they can come home with elaborate stories of things that never happened. And there's no one who can say that didn't happen because we weren't with them. So they like that. They're not trapped and being watched by one person all the time like me. So they can't really come up with these stories unless they amp up the gaslighting. And that's the other thing. One way they can still feel good is to gaslight whoever is in their life. Make them feel like they are fucking nuts. Telling them constantly, I never said that. I mean, my mother does this almost every time she speaks. She finds a way to make me feel like I just heard something wrong just a second ago. And we can have 1 5-minute conversation and she can come up with 5 different things to make me feel like I'm nuts. You didn't listen to me. You didn't hear me right. That's not what I said. What's wrong with you? Are you okay today? Stuff like that. It's like, what the hell is going on? And the other thing is that when somebody new does come in, like a nurse, it's the perfect time to throw me under the bus, especially if they are brand new. Example, yesterday's nurse was a nurse that we have not had before. And my mother and sister had just had a conversation about gout. Let's just, that's exactly what it was. I give my mother her pills every morning, if she ever needs to know what this new pill is. I mean, I always tell her if there's something new, but she knows her pills. She knows her gout pill, her diuretic. I mean, she knows all these things. And she decided to tell the nurse that I haven't been giving her pills. And when I stepped away for a second is when she started saying that. And when I came back in, she's like, I'm going to shut up now because my daughter's back in the room. I told the nurse, she gets her pills every morning. She says, yeah, but you're not giving me my gout pill. I'm like, of course I am, Ma. You get it every morning. She wants to throw me under the bus because there's somebody new. Did I explain to that nurse my mother's history? No, we might not see that particular nurse again. I'm tired of explaining to everyone. But because my mother talks like this, they tend to believe, because of her age, that it's dementia. Even the hospice social worker, I really thought she was on board. I explained everything to her at the beginning. At least 3 or 4 times, and she did it during her last visit, she said, yeah, I think that's dementia. And I said, no. And it makes me feel horrible because I trusted that she believed what I was saying. And at the very least, instead of making a diagnosis, she's not a doctor, I'm not either, but I have 61 years of experience with this, with my mother, and she's known my mother a couple of months and has seen her a few times, and she mostly talks to me, not my mother. So to me, what she could have said is this normal for her? Something like that. Come to me before you just assume that it's dementia after I have explained repeatedly that there's no dementia here at play. At least not to my knowledge, because everything my mother says and does is exactly what she has been doing her whole life, at least during my whole life. One other thing that my mother can do, which is different right now because we have moved next to Derek and Skylar, she can try to destroy my relationship with them. They are somebody new in the mix. She hasn't, well, I shouldn't say that. She has, even when we were in Maine, she comes up with ways to try to make me dislike my son, dislike my granddaughter. She can say really awful things about them. It's never gonna work. Yeah. But here, she will find other ways. Like one time I had to give her friend a ride home, and then my mother was like, they're just always going to use you, they're trying to use you, and you do anything anybody says, stuff like that. She wants me to dislike things like giving my granddaughter's friend a ride home with my granddaughter in the car. It's like, that's the reason I moved here, so I can help out. I mean, it's just crazy. It's just crazy to me. She's very toxic, to say the least. And all those things that she can still do are elevated because she doesn't have those other outlets to work with. Last but not least, and this is the biggest one, the lies are outrageous. Now, my mother will lie mainly because she wants to drive the other person crazy. It's like gaslighting on crack. So she will come out with things that are so incredibly ridiculous that you can't even believe she thinks we will fall for it. But you know what? She doesn't care if we fall for it. For her, telling outrageous lies means she is going to cause that gaslighting feeling. But more importantly, she wants the fight. She wants the person she's lying to lose their mind and not just say, no, that's not true. She wants you to get upset and just, start screaming, stop, you're fucking lying, that kind of thing. Then she feels great. Now, here was a lie today. There's lies every day, every single day. Morning, morning is the time that I worry about the most because I need to come in here, have my coffee, and start my day the right way. I got up, I go to her like I always do. I asked her if she wanted a coffee now, which I often do, and she denies that I ever do that. And she almost always says no. And I said, I'm going to make my coffee. Do you want a coffee? No. All right. So then when I have my coffee, I go to her again and I say, I'm ready to go in my room and I'll be right out. Don't you worry about a thing. I want you to do whatever you have to do. I'm okay. I walk away from that knowing something's up her sleeve. She's overdoing it in that moment. So I know something is brewing and I was very worried. So I was like, I'm going to have my coffee and just, be as quick as I can and get back to her. Well, a few sips into the coffee, my phone rings, my brand new phone, and I don't know how to run it. And it was in the kitchen. So I go and it had stopped ringing by the time I never could figure out how to say hello. And so I told her, I said, but I could see who called me. It was somebody that I knew was just going to confirm the fabric order that I placed last night. And I left her a message, my sales rep. I showed my mother the phone and I said, I didn't answer my phone on time. I got a call. I'm just going to call them really quick and just let them know that I did indeed place that order. I didn't say it in that many words, but I'm trying to let you know that I just let her know I had to make a call and it's going to be just a minute. So I got my landline to call the person back. Now, at this point, my mother's still in her chair. She's all wrapped. She's just there, waiting patiently. So I make the very quick call and say, yep, that's my order and we're good to go. And, I explained to her a little bit how I don't know how to answer my phone. It's just that. And now, at this point, I've only had a few sips of coffee, but I also had a phone call, so I just want to get out there and get her ready. And I go out, and I noticed something looked weird. I didn't know right away what it was, but what it was is after I saw her shirt on the floor, on the side of her chair, I could see her bare shoulders. And she wears short things. It's easier for potty time, and also if she leaks onto the chair, which is covered with pads, we don't have to wash the nightie right away. So she has this shirt, and I saw that something looked weird, and then I see the shirt on the floor, and that's when I noticed that her shoulders are bare, and she's got the blanket all wrapped up and tucked under her arms, and she's there. And I said, you took your shirt off? And she says, it's so wet and I'm so cold. I had to take that off because I'm soaking wet. And I pick up the shirt and it is bone dry, completely dry. And yes, I could have just said, oh, that's too bad. I'm so sorry that I had a call because I should be catering to your every fucking need. But I don't do that. So I pick it up and I just show her, Mom, this isn't wet at all. Feel it. It's wet. It's soaking wet. She says, I was trying to push the sleeves all the way up my arms because they were so wet. Now, is that what you do when you have a wet shirt? You have the option of taking it off, or you push up wet sleeves. It's just, so I said, feel it. And she feels it. She says, that's wet. I said, that's not wet, Ma. This is not wet. It's all dry. Feel it again. It dried. That fabric just dried really fast. Now, see, at that point, I thought I have content for a video. So that got me back down to a normal level, and I just ignored any other mention about that shirt. If I were to do something like that 2 or 3 days in a row, the fourth day, she is just going to do everything in her power to make me mental. Because I didn't push it. She doesn't like it if I don't push it because she's after the fight. She wanted to upset me and she didn't get the pleasure. Now, she might do something just this afternoon. But the thing is, the shirt wasn't wet. It wasn't wet at all, and she doesn't care if that's not true. Now, somebody else would think, oh, maybe dementia's kicking in or something because she really felt like that was a wet shirt. It's not. She knows the shirt is not wet. When I showed her that I had a call, that I had to call somebody back, that pissed her off. I can step away from my cup of coffee for a fabric call, but I can't do it for her. So that's just life with a very old narcissist. It doesn't get better. And in many ways, the ways that she still can get at somebody, those ways get worse. They get exaggerated. Fun. I want to clarify something. When I said I have content now for a video, I'm not looking for that. But when I tell myself that, it brings me down to a normal level. That's why I love that I can share these things. Instead of me falling for it again and again and again, I still will fall for it at times. There are times I will lose my mind. But if I can tell myself I'm going to talk about this in a video as soon as I can, that brings me down to a more normal level. And the fact that I feel like I can share and maybe help someone else who's in the same situation, that makes it almost worth it in some way, although I would never choose my life just so one day I'd be able to talk about it on YouTube. But I just want to let you know, that's what it does for me. I can try to calm down. I will talk about this, and then I'll probably feel better after sharing this because there's a chance that I helped someone else. And if I can take all this madness that I live through every day and turn it into something good sometimes, that's what I'm going to do.